There's a man standing outside your building who was not there this morning. You noticed him at 2:14 in the afternoon when you went to get coffee from the place across the street. He was on the corner, dark jacket, phone in his hand but not looking at it. By the time you came back out, he had moved 30 feet to the left, but he was still there. You walk back into the building without looking at him directly, because looking directly is the thing you do not do anymore. You went back to your office. You sat down. You opened tab 31 of the spreadsheet, and you have not been able to type a single number since. It is 3:47 in the afternoon. You need to decide in the next hour whether that man on the corner means something. You joined the organization 4 years ago. You did not know it was the organization when you joined. That sounds like something a person says to make themselves feel better, but in your case, it is accurate. You were a forensic accountant working for a mid-sized firm in Guadalajara. You were good at your job. Someone referred you to a client. The client was an import and export company on the fourth floor of a building in the financial district. They needed a chief financial officer. The salary was $400,000 a year. You said yes before they finished the sentence. The first 3 months were normal. Real business, real clients, real revenue from real goods moving through real ports. You built systems. You hired staff. You organized the finances of what looked like a legitimate company because 30% of it was a legitimate company. Then, in month 4, a man named Hector came to your office and closed the door and sat down and explained the other 70%. He explained it calmly, like he was describing a filing system. He told you what the money was. He told you where it came from. He told you what your job was going to be going forward. He told you what happened to people who had this conversation and then decided they wanted to leave. You did not leave. That was 4 years ago. Since then, you have built 43 spreadsheet tabs tracking the movement of cartel money through 11 shell companies across 4 countries. You know the name of the federal judge in Sonora who receives $12,000 a month. You know the police commander in Culiacan who receives $8,000. You know the routing numbers for the Cayman accounts, the Luxembourg accounts, the Cyprus accounts. You know the names of 6 men who are no longer alive because they knew things they should not have known. 8 months ago, a man named Rodrigo did not come to work. Rodrigo was a logistics coordinator, mid-level, not someone you worked with directly, but you noticed his absence because you noticed patterns. He had been with the organization 3 years. 6 weeks before he disappeared, he had started asking questions about his pension. Specific questions. The kind a man asks when he is thinking about a future somewhere else. Nobody mentioned Rodrigo after the first week. That same week, you started building the file. It lives on a drive in a location only you know, not in this building, not on company servers. The file contains account numbers, transfer records, names, dates, transaction histories going back 4 years. Enough to be useful to someone if something happened to you. It is not an escape plan. It is insurance. There is a difference, and you have spent 8 months telling yourself there is a difference. Your personal phone is checked periodically. You know this because 2 years ago, the man 2 doors down from your office received a call from a number he should not have been calling, and 3 days later his office was empty, and nobody mentioned him after the first week. Since then, your personal phone contains nothing. Your wife calls you on it every day. You speak about your daughter's school, the kitchen sink, dinner. Your voice is normal. You are very good at normal. Your daughter is 7. She drew a picture of your family last week and put it on the refrigerator with a pineapple magnet. At 4:15, your secretary knocks and tells you Hector is here. Hector does not have appointments. Hector arrives and you see him. You stand up and you straighten your jacket and you open the office door, and Hector comes in and sits in the chair across from your desk the way he always sits, one ankle crossed over the other knee, completely relaxed, the way a man is relaxed when nothing in the world has ever required him to be tense. He asks how the Luxembourg transfer is progressing. You tell him it clears in the morning. He nods. He asks about the Guadalajara construction contract payments. You tell him the schedule. He nods again. He is looking at you the way he always looks at you, directly, without blinking, the way a man looks at something he owns. He asks if everything is okay. You say yes, everything is fine. He looks at you for 3 seconds longer than the question requires. Then he stands up. He buttons his jacket. He says good, and he walks to the door, and he opens it, and he stops with his hand on the doorframe, and he says one more thing. He says, "There was a man asking questions in the financial district this afternoon. He says they are handling it. He says these things happen, and not to worry." He leaves. You sit down. You look at the window. 4 floors down the street is empty now. The man in the dark jacket is gone. You do not know if that means they handled it, or if it means he was never anything to worry about, or if it means Hector already knew he was there and wanted to see your face when he mentioned it. You look at your screen. Tab 31. Cell B7. The cursor is blinking. Your phone buzzes. Your wife. She is asking if you are coming home for dinner. She has sent a photograph of your daughter at the kitchen table doing homework. Your daughter is wearing a school uniform and frowning at a worksheet, and the pineapple magnet is visible on the refrigerator behind her. You type that you will be home by 7. You put the phone face down on the desk. You look at cell B7. The transfer amount is $2.3 million moving from the Cayman account to Luxembourg. You have done this transfer 40 times. Your fingers know the keystrokes. The money will move and it will become cleaner, and tomorrow it will move again and become cleaner still. And by the time it reaches the construction company in Guadalajara, it will be completely clean, and nobody looking at it will be able to trace it back to where it started. You type the amount. You authorize the transfer. The cursor moves to the next cell. Outside the window, the street is ordinary. People walking, cars moving. A city doing what cities do at the end of an afternoon. You watch it for a moment, and then you turn back to the screen and you open tab 32. And you keep working because working is the only thing you can do right now, and right now is the only thing that exists. Your daughter is frowning at a worksheet in a kitchen 4 miles away. You open tab 32. You keep working.